there aren't rank and filers that love Trump or have voted for Trump. Of course there are. But utilizing that as though that is as significant, as though that this says anything about like Trump's legitimate interest in like uplifting the American working class is journalistic malpractice, is just straight up lying, actually. Fuck journalistic malpractice. It's just lying. You are lying to your audience, you Weasley little fucking liars.
Unions built the middle class.
President Biden encouraged striking auto workers to stick with it and became the first president to join a picket line.
So let's keep going. You deserve what you...
This is historic, not like historic. This is actually historic. The American government has been designed to churn out antagonistic results to labor. So when you have the American president, the head of state, actually openly support and side with the working class like this, it's fucking historic. It's a big deal.
United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain has been critical of Trump and stood with President Biden on Tuesday.
Thank you, Mr. President, for coming.
But his union is yet to endorse anyone in the race for president.
I'll tell you what, the auto workers are being sold down the river by their leadership.
Trying to drive a wedge between the leadership and the union is so funny. There's no being at odds with the union leadership. They had a 98% vote to strike. No one in the United States of America in contemporary U.S. history has reached that level of popularity in any vote. There's no ballot measures that hit that level of popular support. And we know ballot measures are significantly more popular than both parties' representatives. So ridiculous for Trump to say this, and additionally ridiculous for the media to even give it any kind of light, any kind of breath whatsoever, instead of immediately shooting it down. So let's look at the both sides ass coverage on the matter here, because obviously the one aspect of this that is like truly mind-boggling, and a friend of the show Alex Press wrote about this, has been the media coverage over the matter. For days the mainstream media has said Donald Trump is going to Michigan to speak to union auto workers. That's completely false. He is traveling there today to speak at a non-union auto parts shop at the invitation of its boss. Donald Trump is so bad at labor that he's like not just bad at workers' rights from the perspective of like any other Republican president, but he's also bad even before he was running for office. Like in his own personal life, he is like famously very bad at paying his workers. So much coverage has been done on this matter from the very same outlets that have actually covered Donald Trump because they hate Donald Trump. They've done real journalism in the past. So the fact that like Politico and all these other outlets that have written extensively on Donald Trump never paying its fucking contractors, turning around and being like, there's a real change happening here in the Republican Party and it's genuine. It's like, are they really pro-labor? Is as silly as saying that at the top of the hour there isn't a 3-minute ad break. His catchphrase is, "You're fired." Like the worst thing that a worker never wants to hear. Like, that's his fucking catchphrase. But because even the most regular-ass American wagey doesn't recognize their class position and sees themselves as temporarily embarrassed Donald Trumps, they don't even understand that, like, this guy has been openly communicating his antagonistic relationship with your existence and your class position from the jump, and you clap like a fucking seal for it. Trump is visiting at the invitation of the Drake Enterprises president, Nathan Stempel, who told Fox and Friends yesterday, some of our colleagues that we do business with reached out to us informing him that Trump wanted to hold a rally and was looking for somewhere to host. We were more than willing to do so, he said. Here it is. That's fucking, dude, he looks exactly how you expect him to look.
Give us the backstory here. Tell us how this visit came about and why you do want to host the former president.
Well, first off, thanks for having me on. It was complete luck. Some of our colleagues that we do business with reached out to us, said that the president was looking for a location to host this event. And, you know, we were more than willing to do so.
Yeah, I'm sure you are more than willing. It sounds like a great opportunity.
I'm sure you are more than willing. He's just like, yeah, we're going to kill some of our workers, too, in honor. We're going to sacrifice some of them in honor of Donald Trump, but we're going to do them in a pro-worker kind of way. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but what exactly would happen if they switched to EVs? It's still a fucking car, lol. Electric vehicles have significantly less components and parts that these guys are actually selling. So technically, they would take a hit. A lot of the parts manufacturers, secondary market shops, would legitimately have a hard time adapting to that, maybe even full-blown lose their jobs. plenty of parts within the engine no longer exist when we are talking about a battery. A lot less parts to worry about, no more like oil changes and things of that nature, right? So much of the marketplace would have to adapt and overcome, which I know they would be able to, for the record, except that transition must be just, which is what President Sean Fain talks about quite frequently, and that just transition has to happen with the federal government helping every step of the way. If that just transition is not a just transition, and they just kind of transition without putting clear, well-defined boundaries on how to do such a thing, then you're creating an environment where, capital owners are raking in the profits and utilizing the additional worker displacement to their advantage to further drive wages down. However, this is not an anti-labor union talking point, despite the fact that NPR and mainstream media is trying to use this as an anti-labor union talking point. As a matter of fact, a lot of the IRA provisions were originally supposed to have specific labor union contracts. Like, if you want to build a manufacturing facility in America with American government subsidies, you have to ensure that your shop is unionized. A lot of those provisions were taken out due to people like Joe Manchin and due to, in my opinion, and this is where I will be critical of the Brandon administration, them not fighting hard enough for it. Threaten the removal of committee positions, sick the IRS on them, sick the IRS on their families.
What do you think about President Biden going to join the picket line today? You just heard Karine Jean-Pierre get a lot of questions about it yesterday. Do you think that that's a good idea? Too little, too late? Where do you stand on that?
She's just feeding him talking about it. She's like, is it too little, too late? Come on, say something negative about that too. Let's hear what he has to say. Now, you presented him as this like brilliant, bold, beautiful representative of the working class, right? And then you had him on, even though he's a boss in a non-union shop, you had him on specifically to talk about how like devastating EVs will be for labor unions. Interesting that this is the coverage that's happening currently. Let's see what he has to say about Brandon visiting the picket line.
Much of a politician. I have 3 kids and run a manufacturing company, so I don't have time to get into politics. I did look at some past things, and President Biden.
That's awesome. He said, I'm not a politician. I don't have time for such things. That's why I famously am doing the most apolitical thing I can do, which is be a fucking business owner who invites Donald Trump to his business that is a non-union business that has unionized alternatives, by the way, in the marketplace, that is doing this in the midst of a historic labor action in the form of the big 3 manufacturers all getting hit with strikes at the same time. But like, of course, surely this is apolitical. I am so apolitical. There is nothing political about these actions that I'm engaging in. I'm just an apolitical business owner. And to be fair, from the American liberal capitalist dogmatic sensibility, yes, he is apolitical because he is operating within the confines of the system that has been designed where his position, being apolitical, is the default position anyway. So he is doing the thing that I say all the fucking time. Like when Ben Shapiro talks about the oppressive constructs and denies their existence and can easily say, it's just common sense. He's doing that same thing. You can always appear apolitical and neutral if you are simply taking advantage of the oppressive constructs within the system in and of itself. You're being disparaging the people suffering from political oxymoronism. Yes, but of course he's also going beyond it. If he was just simply a, shop owner that was non-union, a lot of liberals would at least be on his side. They love small business. They love petty bourgeois tyrants, small business tyrants in themselves. They would maybe look at this and go, this guy seems like a real rugged, apolitical, centrist American to me. Except he's on Fox News for inviting Donald Trump to his shop. So, of course, you are not fucking apolitical, dumbass.
In 2020 said that he was going to bring 18.6 million jobs for the automotive industry. And I don't know if that has happened yet or he miscalculated his numbers. We all know that's happened before. But I'll let you answer that.
Wait, I don't get it. You just shit on the IRA and you shit on EV manufacturing and said it's going to displace workers, but you simultaneously also said he's not bringing new jobs to America, which it did. It objectively did. How many manufacturing facilities are being opened now due to the EV subsidies? Here's where the $154 billion investment and 188,000 jobs from Biden's EV push are going. Battery plants are being opened. Manufacturing facilities are being opened. ridiculous to claim that this is just simply not true and it's just not happening unless you personally think that this kind of shit is not considered via